Ladies and gentlemen, life is hard. Pain is inevitable, and we all face moments where the weight of the world seems unbearable. But what if I told you that in those moments of struggle, there's a harsh truth we must accept? Nobody cares. Now, before you dismiss me, hear me out. This isn't a cynical view of the world. It's a wake-up call to empower you. We live in a world where everyone's fighting their own battles, and while empathy is essential, nobody's life revolves around our suffering. You have to hide your pain, not because you have to pretend it doesn't exist, but because it's your responsibility to navigate through it on your own terms. Life doesn't pause for your pain. It's a harsh reality that we often try to avoid, but it's something we all must confront sooner or later. When you're going through something difficult, whether it's loss, heartbreak, failure, or any other form of suffering, the world around you keeps moving. Time doesn't stop, and neither the demands of life. Work, responsibilities, social obligations, and everything in between continue, and there's a certain pressure to keep up. This might seem cruel, but it's a fundamental truth about existence. The world doesn't stop for any one person's pain. This doesn't mean that others are indifferent to your struggles or that your suffering is invisible. It means that life, in its relentless flow, doesn't give you the luxury of stopping everything while you heal. The people around you may offer sympathy, but they can't pause their own lives for you. And even if they do, that won't last forever. Eventually, the world expects you to get back on track, even if you haven't fully recovered. There's a sense of urgency that comes with this truth. You might want to curl up in bed, shut everything out, and let the weight of your emotions take over. But doing so won't stop the world from moving forward. Bills still need to be paid. Projects still need to be completed, and commitments still need to be honored. Pain doesn't absolve you from responsibility. You might feel as though you're drowning in your emotions, but the reality is the world doesn't adjust its tempo just because you're struggling. This doesn't mean you shouldn't take time to grieve or process your pain. Absolutely not. But you also have to understand that there will be moments when you have to put your pain aside, if only temporarily, to meet the demands of life. And when you do, it doesn't mean you're ignoring your pain or pretending it doesn't exist. It means you're finding a way to function in spite of it. It's about balancing your inner world with the outer world, a delicate dance of acknowledging your suffering while still engaging with the world that continues to turn. The fact that life doesn't pause for your pain can be freeing, though. It can be a call to action. It forces you to confront the reality of your situation and push forward, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Sometimes the best way to cope with pain is to immerse yourself in the flow of life, taking action even when you don't feel like it. Can provide a sense of purpose and distract from the overwhelming weight of your emotions. It's not about avoiding the pain. It's about learning how to coexist with it. Ultimately, life's refusal to pause for your pain teaches resilience. It teaches you that even when you feel like the world doesn't stop, but in this unyielding march forward, there's an opportunity for growth. You learn how to adapt, how to keep going even when every fiber of your being wants to stop. You find strength in continuing despite the overwhelming urge to give in. Life doesn't pause for pain, but in that, there is a kind of relentless strength that you discover within yourself. Pain is personal. It is one of the most intimate experiences a person can endure, yet it is often misunderstood by those around us. We may share our suffering with others in an attempt to seek comfort, advice, or even validation. But at the core of it, pain remains a deeply personal journey. No one can ever fully understand the depth of what you're going through, no matter how much they try. It is something that is uniquely yours, shaped by your own experiences, emotions, and perceptions. When you experience pain, it is often wrapped in complexity. It is influenced by your past, your values, your expectations, and your resilience. For one person, the end of a relationship might feel like the worst thing that's ever happened to them, while for someone else, the same experience might not carry the same weight. This disparity is a testament to the personal nature of pain. Two people can go through the same event, but the way they process and experience it will be entirely different. One of the reasons pain is so personal is because it's tied to your identity. It's how you interpret and internalize the world around you. For example, grief can manifest in countless ways. Some may cry, others may feel numb. Some may retreat inwardly, and others may distract themselves with work or other activities. The way you experience pain is deeply influenced by your emotional and psychological makeup. It is colored by your history, your beliefs, and your view of the world. What feels like unbearable suffering to one person may be something another person can move past relatively quickly, even though they both experience the same event. It's this difference that highlights just how personal pain is. There's also the fact that pain is often an expression of your own vulnerabilities. It forces you to confront parts of yourself that you might otherwise keep hidden. You may feel as though the world sees only a strong, put-together version of you, but in moments of pain, those facets can crumble. The reality of who are in your rawest, vulnerable form emerges. And when that happens, there's often a sense of isolation because it's hard to share that vulnerability with others. No matter how much someone else may care, no one can truly feel the exact emotions you're experiencing in that moment. They can empathize, offer support, and provide a listening ear, but they cannot feel your pain the way you do. Sometimes, this personal nature pain can make it feel like a burden. You might feel as if no one can understand what you're going through, which can lead to feelings of loneliness or frustration. In these moments, the very personal nature of your suffering can create a divide between you and others. But it's important to recognize that while others may not be able to feel your pain in the exact way you do, that doesn't mean they can't offer meaningful support. The problem is not that others don't care. It's that they can't fully comprehend the internal landscape of your experience. Your pain remains used to navigate, even as you seek companionship along the way. Pain is a reminder of humanity, of the fragile, unpredictable nature of life. It is something that will always be personal because it is an expression of what it means to be deeply affected by the world around you. It is not just something you feel, it is something you live through, something that shapes you. Nobody owes you compassion. It's a hard truth to swallow, especially when we are used to expecting empathy and kindness from others, particularly in our times of struggle. But the reality is that compassion, while deeply valuable, is not a given. It is not something others are required to give freely or consistently. Expecting compassion from others can lead to disappointment, frustration, and even bitterness when it is not returned in the way we hope. Understanding that nobody owes you compassion forces you to take ownership of your own emotions, your healing, and your journey. At its core, compassion is a gift. It is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, to put aside your own concerns and offer support to someone who is suffering. But it's not something that comes naturally to everyone. And it's certainly not something that others are required to offer on demand. People have their own lives, struggles, and challenges. They may not be in a position to offer the kind of compassion you need at a particular moment, no matter how much they may care for you. Life is busy, complex, and sometimes individuals are simply unable to provide the emotional support you desire because they are dealing with their own pain or responsibilities. This idea does not invalidate the importance of compassion or the need for it in human relationships. Compassion is a powerful force for good. It can heal, support, and provide comfort in the darkest of times. But expecting it from others as an obligation, if it's something you are entitled to, can lead to an unhealthy dependency on external sources of emotional support. You might find yourself constantly seeking validation or sympathy from others, hoping that they will fill the void you feel. However, the truth is that no one is obligated to meet your emotional needs the way you want them to. Instead, recognizing that nobody owes you compassion can be liberating. It encourages you to turn inward for comfort and healing. While it's natural to seek support from those we care about, we also need to be able to offer compassion to ourselves. This internal compassion, rooted in self-care and self-understanding, is a form of emotional independence. It means accepting your own pain without relying on others to fix it or make it better. It's about learning to be kind to yourself, even when others may not be able to offer the same kindness. Moreover, when you release the expectation that others owe you compassion, you begin to approach your relationships in a healthier way. Instead of seeking validation from others as a way to soothe your pain, you start to offer passion without expectation. You recognize that compassion, like any other emotional exchange, is a two-way street. When you stop expecting others to meet your emotional needs all the time, you give them the freedom to offer compassion in their own way and on their own terms, which can make those gestures feel even more genuine and meaningful. Understanding that nobody owes you compassion also removes the burden of resentment. When you expect others to show empathy and they don't, you may start to feel resentful, as though they failed you or don't care enough. But when you no longer see compassion as an obligation, you free yourself from the cycle of disappointment and frustration. You become less reliant on external sources of support and more resilient in your ability to handle difficult emotions. In the end, the recognition that nobody owes you compassion doesn't mean that compassion isn't important. It means that you take control of your own emotional well-being. You build strength by learning to offer yourself the same understanding and kindness you seek from others. And when compassion does come those around you, it becomes a beautiful, unexpected gift, not an expectation. Building resilience, not dependency, is crucial for navigating life's challenges. It's easy to fall into the trap of relying on to help us cope with pain, adversity, or hardship. While it's important to have a support system, the key to truly overcoming difficulties lies in developing the strength to rely on yourself. Dependency on others, whether emotionally, mentally, or even financially, can create a sense of helplessness and a lack of control over your own life. It may provide temporary relief, but it doesn't allow you to grow or become stronger in the face of adversity. Building resilience, on the other hand, helps you cultivate the inner strength to face obstacles head-on without needing to constantly rely on others to pull you through. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, adapt to change, and keep going even when things feel overwhelming. It's not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about developing the mental and emotional tools to handle them. Life is full of challenges, some big, some small, and the way you respond to them determines your growth. People who are resilient don't just survive adversity, they learn from it, adapt to it, and emerge stronger. They are able to face difficulties with a sense of control and self-assurance, knowing that while the pain may be temporary, their ability to overcome it is not. Dependency, in contrast, is rooted in a mindset of helplessness. When you depend on others to manage your emotions, solve your problems, or pull you out of difficult situations, you are placing the responsibility for your well-being in someone else's hands. This creates a sense of disempowerment. You start to believe that you are incapable of handling life's challenges without the help of others. While it's natural to seek support when needed, depending on others too much can limit your growth and prevent you from developing the self-reliance necessary to handle life independently. Building resilience requires practice and effort. It starts with changing the way you view challenges. Instead of seeing them as insurmountable obstacles, view them as opportunities to grow. Every time you overcome a difficulty, no matter how small, you build your resilience. You learn that you can handle tough situations, and you become more confident in your ability to face whatever comes your way. This shift in perspective is essential for developing mental and emotional strength. It involves focusing on your strengths rather than your weaknesses, using setbacks as steppings to greater personal growth. Another important aspect of building resilience is learning how to manage your emotions. Emotional resilience, not letting negative emotions dictate your actions. Life's challenges often bring up feelings of frustration, sadness, or fear, but resilient people understand that these emotions are temporary and manageable. They know how to process and release these feelings without letting them control their behavior. By developing emotional regulation skills, you can handle stress, disappointment, and uncertainty without letting them derail your progress. Resilience also involves developing a sense of purpose and meaning. People who are resilient often have a strong sense of why they do what they do. Whether it's for personal growth, helping others, or pursuing their passions, this sense of purpose helps them stay focused and motivated. Even when times are tough, instead of looking to others for validation or support, resilient people look inward, drawing strength from their own values and goals. They know that no matter how difficult life gets, they can always find a way to keep moving forward. In the end, building resilience is about taking ownership of your life and your journey. It's about developing the confidence and self-reliance to face challenges on your own without waiting for someone else to step in. Dependency can make you feel like you need others to thrive, but resilience teaches you that you have everything you need within yourself to overcome obstacles and grow stronger through them. Your pain is your power. It might sound paradoxical, but it's a truth that many people discover as they navigate through the hardships life throws at them. Pain, whether it's emotional, physical, or mental, is often seen as something to avoid or escape from. We naturally try to protect ourselves from suffering because it hurts. It feels uncomfortable and it disrupts our sense of peace. But what if instead of running from pain, we chose to face it head on? What if we allowed ourselves to experience it fully, understanding that in that very pain, we can find the strength we never knew we had? Pain is one of life's most powerful teachers. It strips away the superficial layers of our being and forces us to confront what lies beneath. When we experience deep emotional pain, such as grief, betrayal, loss, or heartbreak, it can feel like we are losing part of ourselves. But what we often fail to realize in these moments is that pain is not just something that diminishes us, it can also build us. Pain forces us to grow, to adapt, and to evolve in ways we might never have imagined. It challenges our limits, reveals strengths we didn't know existed. When you face pain, you learn resilience. You discover your capacity to endure, to push through, and to rise again. At first, it might feel as though your world is falling apart, and in many ways it does. But from the ashes of that destruction, something new can emerge. Pain breaks down the walls that we build around ourselves, and in doing so, it opens up a path to transformation. It might be uncomfortable. It might be messy, but it is through this process of breakdown and rebuilding that we become stronger, more adaptable, and more capable of handling future challenges. Pain also has developed empathy and understanding. When you've experienced hardship, you can relate to the suffering of others in a way that someone who hasn't been through similar experiences might not be able to. Your own pain becomes a bridge that connects you to others. It teaches you humility, compassion, and the value of human connection. You learn to see people not as strangers, but as fellow travelers on a difficult journey. And in doing so, you begin to realize that we are all capable of turning our struggles into something powerful, whether for ourselves or for others. Furthermore, pain helps to clarify our values and priorities. When everything feels uncertain, when the foundation beneath us is shaking, we are forced to reevaluate what truly matters. Pain strips away distractions and forces us focus on what is most important. It's in moments of pain that we find our deepest desires, our core beliefs, and the things that drive us. We become clearer on what we need to let go of and what we must hold on to. Pain sharpens our sense of purpose, directing our energy toward what is meaningful and fulfilling. Finally, pain is a reminder that we are alive. It's easy to take life for granted when everything is going well, but suffering brings us into the present moment. It forces us to confront reality as it is, raw and unfiltered. And in this confrontation, we find clarity. We see things as they truly are, without the distractions of our everyday routines or the illusions we build to protect ourselves. Pain wakes us up to the reality of our own existence. And in that wakefulness, we find the power to make choices that lead us toward healing growth. Your pain is your power, not because it's easy or enjoyable, but because it has the potential to transform you. It is in pain that you uncover your true strength, your compassion, your resilience, and your purpose. Pain may break you down in the moment, but over time, it can build you into someone more powerful than you ever imagined. Taking ownership of your healing is perhaps one of the most empowering things you can do in life. It means recognizing that while external factors may have contributed to your pain, the responsibility for healing lies within you. This can be a difficult realization, especially when you are in the depths of suffering. It's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for someone else to heal you, or hoping that time alone will erase the wounds. However, true healing doesn't happen passively. It requires active participation and a conscious effort to reclaim your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. When you take ownership of your healing, you acknowledge that while pain may come from external sources, how you move forward is entirely in your hands. Healing isn't about waiting for others to fix you or for circumstances to magically improve. It's about deciding to take charge of your journey, regardless of how daunting it may seem. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond, how you process, and how you move through the aftermath. In this way, healing becomes an act of personal empowerment, a choice to rise above the difficulties that life presents. Taking ownership of your healing involves self-awareness and self-compassion. It means being honest with yourself about your pain, acknowledging its presence rather than ignoring or suppressing it. So often, people try to push through their pain without truly confronting it. They may distract themselves with work, substance use, or even other relationships, hoping that time will heal the wound. But healing doesn't occur through avoidance. It happens when you choose to face the pain, examine it, and understand it. This takes commitment. It requires vulnerability to sit with your discomfort, to admit that you are hurt, and to give yourself the grace to heal at your own pace. Self-compassion is a crucial part of this process. When you take ownership of your healing, you need to be kind to yourself. Too often, people blame themselves for their pain or believe they should heal faster than they are. Healing is not a race, and there is no set timeline for it. It's about recognizing that you deserve the time and space to heal just like anyone else. Giving yourself permission to feel, to grieve, and to rest is an essential part of the healing journey. The more you treat yourself with kindness, the more effectively you'll heal. Another vital aspect of taking ownership of your healing is seeking the right support. Healing is not an isolated process, and while the responsibility is yours, it doesn't mean you have to go it alone. Whether it's through therapy, support groups, trusted friends, or family, there are people who can walk beside you on your journey. Taking ownership means recognizing that you are in control of who you allow into your healing process. It means being discerning about the types of support you accept and choosing those who encourage your growth rather than keeping you stuck in your pain. Additionally, ownership of your healing involves setting healthy boundaries. Part of healing is learning to protect yourself from people, situations, or environments that exacerbate your pain. Sometimes this means distancing yourself from toxic relationships, stepping away from harmful patterns of behavior, or even changing your environment. Healing cannot happen in spaces that are unsafe, either physically or emotionally. It is your responsibility to create a space that nurtures your well-being, one where you can grow, reflect, and recover. Taking ownership also means taking proactive steps in your healing process. It's not enough to wait for your pain to dissipate on its own. Healing requires action, whether it's seeking therapy, practicing mindfulness, engaging in physical activities that promote wellness, or simply allowing yourself the time to rest and recharge. Every small step you take to nurture your body and mind contributes to your overall healing. Ownership means making a commitment to yourself. one that prioritizes your well-being and recognizes that you are worthy of the effort. Ultimately, taking ownership of your healing is an act of self-respect. It is recognizing that your pain is valid, that you are capable of healing, and that you have the power to reclaim your life. It's a journey that may not be linear, and it may involve setbacks, but in the end, it is yours to navigate, and you are the one who has the power to shape it. In the end, healing is not about waiting for something or someone to change your circumstances. It's about realizing that you have the strength, the resilience, and the power within yourself to take control of your journey. It's about facing your pain, owning your healing process, and moving forward with intention and self-compassion. While others may walk beside you, the path is yours to travel. Embrace it, trust in yourself, and remember that every step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you are becoming. You are not defined by your pain, but by your ability to rise from it stronger and wiser than before. So take ownership of your healing and let it be the greatest act of self-love and empowerment you will ever know.